Good evening, everyone. I have been asked to revisit March the 11th and show the relationship that space object 2000P and 9 had on the event, the Japanese earthquake and tsunami. So this is set for 14 days before the event on March the 11th. This green dot right there is the Earth. And this is our friend 2000P and 9. And as you can see, this darker blue line is its travel path. The lighter blue line is its projected future travel path. It was below the Earth at this viewpoint. See? It's below us 14 days before the event. I'll click it a day at a time. That's the 1st of March. You can see where the green dot right here. Still underneath of us somewhat. That's what it looks like that. This is 1 week before March the 4th. We're the green dot. It's still below us. 5th, 6th, 7th, the 8th. 3 days beforehand. And during that 3-day period, they have said that we were getting pummeled by the sun. So we are already absorbing that outburst as this progression occurs. This is the 9th. This is the 10th. As you can see, it's still coming up on us from below. And one more day, there it is on the 11th. This is March the 11th. This is where everything was located. Some of the other planets, the sun. And you can see there is P and 9. We can turn it a little different viewpoint. You can get a good idea of a pretty good close flyby from our friend. A little too close for comfort, as we can see a result of what transpired that it surely did play a hand in one form or another. Now we'll also go ahead, and since there were so many things happening that day, we also need to check on the other part. Its other partner in crime, Elenin, and see what little old Elenin was doing that day too. Okay, let's see what Elenin was doing that day, shall we? This is March the 25th. Whoop. Just going to blow it up a hair. And here we have our friend right here, Elenin, and we are right here. So on March the 11th, this is what we look like with the other one. Now remember, PN9 was coming up real close from underneath. This one was not. See how much more flatter its travel was actually by the looks of this diagram. So that is where those two objects were on March the 11th. Now, since we're on JPL, let's just go ahead and let me mention something to you about JPL that I've been thinking about. We have to come through this orbit diagram, supposedly, since it's linked in with NASA, and they're supposed to give us good information, but we have to be very leery and really go over it with a fine-tooth comb, because the owner, who is the JP of the JPL, that is his initials, JP, apparently it seems to be true that he was Luciferian. I had heard this a while back, quite a while back actually, several years, but I never really paid attention to it. My bad. But I kept hearing these things. I kept reading occasional things, but I didn't check into it enough. But I have now, and there is some questionable things about JP here. If you get a chance, do some reading on JP and give it some thought about his involvement in the space industry and the investigation of things in space and what his real motivations were. It's quite interesting, and it sheds a little light on why NASA does what NASA does. This is ridiculous, of course, that we are still having to deal with these things. It is now 2 weeks, and we are now hearing, I just did, that they were saying that there may have possibly been a core meltdown and a core breach. Well, we knew this all along. Apparently it's just like we thought. They're leaking little by little more severe parts of the information that we already feel is already happened. But what I think everybody should be wondering is, we know what they did to Chernobyl. They eventually, covered it with tons and tons of sand and tons of concrete and entombed it. They buried it, they entombed it. So that is the question we should be wondering, instead of watching this spew like a toxic volcano day after day after day. And this is not a current photo, this is the past photo of the explosion and stuff, but I posted it up here just to remind you of the magnitude of what they're spewing into the air. It just continues to go on and on daily, and actually we seem to be getting less and less updates on our news channels. They have shifted gears over to Gaddafi and the Libyan war, the sham of a war, which we've been involved in the civil war, which is nothing more than the NWO takeover of Libya, because Gaddafi, the scumbag that he is, he still doesn't play ball with them, so they're going to remove him. I knew NATO troops would be sent in. I don't think this will be a quick exit, not actually. But back to the radiation. Why they have not entombed this, why they are not entertaining the idea of this, we understand that they rely on nuclear energy for a large portion of their power. We get that. But if this is unrecoverable, and it is a danger to public health and all people's safeties, then it should be a no-brainer that these things no longer are allowed to spew all this toxic poison into the atmosphere and our environment, and allow it to get into the food chain and the water so that we can become infected with it. So we need to spread the word to everyone to be extremely cautious and careful in the coming months and days, because there's still volcanic activity all over the place. If you look around, I didn't say they were blowing up all over the place. I said there's volcanic activity, rumbling and grumbling, and there are still earthquakes going on in Japan. They have never stopped. They had a good one, 6.6, no, I believe it was 6.8 in Indonesia. That's very strong. That didn't really get too much news there. So everything is still going. Nothing has stopped. So there's not really any way you can put yourself on hold. You have to continue to pray. Pray for others. Pray that this stops. Pray that they will bring the information out that we need, that we already know, but we need accuracy on just what the levels truly are, because this is ridiculous. How long can they portray this and continue this and allow this to happen? Because the longer it goes on, it's not going to get any better. It's just going to poison more things, and those poor people over there in those areas that are closer to this stuff even than we are. Hopefully we won't get the full dose, but continued low dose is very bad also, because it builds up in your system. I'm going to continue to try and find out as much about this radiation as possible. And I'm going to be watching Libya, and I think you all should too, about how Obama has involved us in this sham, and he has made us subservient to the United Nations. He has sold us out to the NWO. My time is about ready to run out right now, so I'm going to have to close this video. But I pray for all of you, and I appreciate you watching and trying to learn some things. I have something kind of interesting. It's going to take me a few days to compose it and gather my thoughts on it and present it. So until then, watch everything that's going on and be safe and careful, and pray to our Lord. Until next time, I'll see you later.